Hi Fanbots, I'm Nix.
And I'm Hawkeye.
And this is We've Got Issues. So this is basically our review section. So we're going to review 3 titles each, and we're going to tell you if they're great and if they're worth it to pick up. So with no further delay, because I'm really, really excited, just like I am, we're going to get started. And my first review is going to be 10 Grand.
By the ever-talented J. Michael Straczynski.
Of course, art by C.P. Smith. I've been following the series. This is actually one of the series that I first started following on time. And by that, I mean I actually picked up the last issue the week it came out instead of like weeks later.
This is a big deal, people.
Yeah, for me, this is like clockwork. Like, it's that precise. I am a huge fan of this series. I'm a huge fan of a lot of J. Michael Straczynski series, but this issue did not resonate with me.
Oh.
Yeah, it was still a phenomenal issue. I mean, I still love his work. I love the series. It definitely should not dissuade you from picking up the series, but just realize that this issue is more of an epilogue than a conclusion. So don't come into it with super high expectations like I hoped. If I had to sum it up in one score, I would say it's probably a 7 out of 10. So it falls a little from the usual 8s or 9s I would have given it, but still a phenomenal end to a great arc. So pick it up and read it. Just treat it as more of an epilogue than a conclusion. So.
And you said, Nix, you'd give that issue a 7 out of 10, but as a series as a whole, for interested prospective readers.
Issue is a 7 out of 10 for 10 Grand, but the whole series, now that this arc has concluded, I would give it a 9 out of 10. That's really high praise for me. I mean, even though it's J. Michael Straczynski, I still tend to be more critical, and I think his new series for 10 Grand and the story arc was phenomenal. It dealt with a lot of really cool topics in a really cool way, and it was just a joy to read every time I picked up a new issue. One of my favorite titles in a long time, so pick it up, wait for the trades to come out, because it's going to be easy to collect, and they should be out soon. The first one's already out, the second one should drop soon, and then you'll be golden after that. So, check it out. 9 out of 10 for the whole arc. So, my second review is going to be Constantine, another one of my favorite series. Creative team for this one, Fawkes is writing, Juan is illustrating, and then Hori and Hori are lettering, I guess.
Lettering and colors, most
likely.
likely.
Lettering and colors. So, I'm a huge fan of the Constantine series, and this issue is on par with the rest of the series. A lot of fun stuff is happening in the series right now. That's what I love about Constantine, is it's just always a seat-of-your-pants fun ride. John Constantine, as you know, the mage that cannot be outsmarted or out-tricked. He's up to his old antics. It's a lot of fun. This issue in particular, I really enjoyed because they brought a lot of the whole character of Constantine into play in terms of his misery and how he can never have anything good.
Things that we love.
Yeah, things we love about John Constantine. The balance of the universe is against him as a mage, and it really shows in the issue. You watch him struggle with a lot of things, which is par for the course of Constantine, and they did it in a really great way. Illustration and coloring, on point. Lettering, fantastic job. Writing, great. I would give this issue a 9 out of 10. A lot of great stuff happens in it. So definitely pick it up. Highly recommended issue. My final issue is actually one that I actually started reading just recently. I literally picked up all the trades and read them last night. And in particular, this issue is sort of special for me for reviewing it because I get to give a special transmission, aka a shout out, to one of our great fanbots, Rolo. This one goes out to you. So my final review is Ghosted. Phenomenal series. I literally read all 3 trades last night, couldn't put them down, and the new issue looks even better than anything they've done before. The series is fantastic, and the new issue sets up a lot of the basis for what looks like it's going to be a major plot run. Before this, they were running in 5-issue arcs, so this is probably going to be the same format, and you're going to really see the main characters interact. And in terms of the story in this one, phenomenal. I really like where it's going. The ones before kind of lackluster for me, but this one looks like it's gearing up to be really gripping. One thing I really enjoyed about this issue too was the coloring. Really phenomenal use of color to set the tone for different sections of the book. It really enhances your experience reading it. The story, phenomenal. I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the arc. Art, I'm a huge fan of this artist. I've never really seen anything else done by him, but I'm definitely going to check him out. I love the art in this series. Highly recommended. I would give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Good pick, Rolo.
Well, if Nix is finished, then I'm going to get started on my 3 titles for the week. And, just as my colleague over here, they're primarily Image comics. So let's start off with the one that is not Image first, and that would be Conan, and Red Sonja. Now, I have never been a very big Red Sonja or Conan fan. I've read a couple Red Sonja comics, never really read a Conan one, wasn't particularly interested. However, I couldn't deny the creative team. Gail Simone has been rocking Red Sonja for a long time now. People love her run. She writes women like they're badasses. Sometimes she's a little dramatic, but she's a sharp, well-known writer. And then Jim Zub came to the table, and he's been working on Wayward lately, which has been one of my favorite Image comics to come out. It is dynamite. So I saw the two of them. I saw Dan Panosian, who's an amazing artist, real sharp, crisp lines, and I thought, I have to read it. And I loved every minute of it. I am not usually heavy on the fantasy stuff. You have to believe me about this, even though I'm about to read Rat Queens also. Normally, it's not my thing, but they just do it so well. You kind of know what's going to happen. You've got a feel for what's coming ahead. Red Sonja, Conan, they're probably going to fight. They're going to end up working together. Whatever. But the way it's laid out is so entertaining. If you have any interest whatsoever in, the sword and sorcery genre, you should pick it up. It's just a really fun read. All in all, I'd have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not one of the greatest things I've ever read, but it is one of the most fun things I've ever read.
Wow, excellent. I have no interest in either of those characters, and I want to read it.
Speaking of Rat Queens, the next one I read was the Rat Queens Special, which is all about Braga, who is featured on the front here, and you probably can't see it, but that's okay, because you're going to pick it up. And this issue gives us a little bit of her backstory, and I just have to say, it's a beautiful comic. There's a stand-in artist for this issue, Tess Fowler, and her art is just dynamite. It's very cartoony, very fun, and for the story, it makes a lot of sense. What we learn is that, this world that we've seen the Rat Queens inhibiting is a much wider, more diverse world than we were expecting. And what I love about this series in general is Kurtis J. Wiebe is just an amazing writer. He writes these characters like they're real people. They don't feel like fantasy tropes. They don't feel like they're just generic cutouts. They are real people who have real problems. In this issue, we find out Braga, in fact, was transgender. She was born a prince. She had responsibilities. She negated them. And all in all, it's just a great book about being true to yourself. And it seems weird to say that about a title like Rat Queens. But it was a beautiful work. I really don't have enough praise for it. Go out, read it if you love Rat Queens. If you don't, 10 out of 10. I thought this is one of those things that you should own. And for that alone, I think it's a 10 out of 10. Wow. And then the last one, which I have been all sorts of excited for.
I can hardly tell.
Odyssey, written by the ever amazing and delightful Matt Fraction, and artisted by Christian Ward, who admittedly I was not too familiar with prior to this, and I wish I was, because his art is dynamic. If you can just look at the cover of these, issue number 2 specifically, they're just bursting with color. They're bursting with style. I mean, it's not typically even a style that I would enjoy, but he does it so well. And just the amount of heart and thought that's gone into this series. They've completely reworked Greek myths. They've added in the sci-fi space element seamlessly. There's no point where you read it and you're like, it's weird to have the gods in space. And it does true justice to the myths, true justice to the culture, true justice to women. And I think in general it shows how powerful, A, it is to revisit old material and give it a new spin, but to really boldly spin it instead of just, oh, this time Zeus is going to be everyone. This is just, it's a great experimental series, really well done. Pick it up just to look at it and enjoy that. 9 out of 10. Good stuff.
Very nice. Excellent. I am a purist when it comes to things like that, and I'm interested in it. I'm going to read it once he lets me borrow it, which is going to be a long time from now because he's coveting it, which is pretty rude, but I'll find a way. One thing, though, I have to say, probably got a 10 out of 10 if they had done their fact-checking properly, because
in the letters section, the writer of the series, Matt Fraction, does say that Homer writes in heroic verse in Latin, which is technically incorrect. And by technically, I mean entirely incorrect. He wrote in Greek. He was a Greek being, if he was a person, a single entity at all.
Yeah, he represented the Greek tradition in Greek. In Old Greek, too, which is kind of neat. If you get a chance to read Homer, it's a lot different than Greek, but that's something probably only I'm interested in.
But either way, it's such a small mistake that honestly I can overlook it because it's obvious that in every other way, this creative team has done their homework, and they don't just feel comfortable messing around with the Greek myths, they feel at home.
Great issues this week. We have issues. I'm sure you have issues too. So why don't you tell us about them in the comment section? And while you're heading down that way, like and subscribe, because we always enjoy getting feedback and interaction with our fan bots. And we like to bring you as many high-quality videos as possible. And if you subscribe, that means that you get up-to-the-date updates on our videos and happenings. So definitely do that. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter as well.
In case you are one of those people who is just limited in thought to roughly 150 characters, Twitter might be the perfect venue for you to just send us a small little, saw your show, thought it was cool, thumbs up.
Tweet me, brah. So with that, thank you for tuning in to our very first episode of We've Got Issues. Thanks. As always, remember who you are and what you are.
Please don't go causing any trouble out there in that crazy world.
And check out all these issues.
Add to your issues. We want you to have issues.
Maximum issues. No, seriously, he's got like 1 million.
No, you have no idea.
You should be catching up with him.
I need a psychiatrist. I got so many issues.
Yeah. And we're on a couch, so it's fitting.